Live, Judge.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court via Zoom hearings. We have several motions to revoke community supervision and motions to adjudicate guilt and revoke community supervision today. First one I have is cause 615648, State of Texas versus Suzanne Norman, as represented by Mr. Ray Martinez. I have cause number 615260, State of Texas versus Efrain Alvarado, as represented by Mr. Paul Acevedo. Cause number 632602, State of Texas versus James Herman, as represented by Mr. Woody Halstead. And we have cause number 621988, 623606, and 634753, State of Texas versus Charles Gaines, which is a resentencing request on the part of the defendant, as represented by the attorney, Ms. Alma Benavides. My understanding is Mr. Gaines is not present at this time, and we'll take him last.
Your Honor, he is Mr. Gaines is present.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Gaines. Thanks for showing up. Representing the state in all matters is going to be Mr. Nicholas Maru. Representing the Bexar County CSCD in all matters will be Ms. Susan Gross, who I will swear at this time. Ms. Gross, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Okay, let's start with Ms. Norman, cause 615648. This is a first amended motion to revoke community supervision. And Ms. Norman, I need you to identify two documents for me prior to entering into this hearing. The first is a document entitled Defendant's Consent to MTR Hearing by Video Conference. And the second is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Are these your two signatures, one on each of these documents, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Martinez, as attorney for Ms. Norman, is this your signature on each of these documents, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
My understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke probation. How does the defendant plead?
Judge, she's pleading true to the violations of condition 16, failure to test.
True to 16 with an explanation, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties what the status of Ms. Norman's probation is, please?
Yes, Ms. Norman has reported as directed. We last saw her on December 16th of 2020. Her case is paid in full and she's completed all 50 hours of her community service. She's had she's had 9 negative drug tests, and she's had 1 positive alcohol on the Smart Start mobile device on May the 20th of 2020. Registering at 0.039 at 6:33 in the AM. She's blowing 4 times a day and has had 64 skips since the MTR was filed. She averages about 27 skips in the last 2 months. She has completed the Victim Impact Panel, CAT-SNP, and DWI intervention program. She has no criminal history, and her officer is recommending that she be continued on the Smart Start mobile device until her termination date, which is January the 11th of 2021.
Okay, before we get any further into this, is Ms. Norman currently blowing 4 times a day or 6 times a day on the Smart Start mobile?
4.
4. Okay. And I guess the elephant in the room is the fact that we have multiple skips. I also understand there was a period of time that Ms. Norman was hospitalized. And my records reflect that she was in the hospital from February the 12th, 2020 until February the 16th, 2020. Does that sound right, Mr. Martinez?
I think so, Judge.
And during that time frame, obviously, she wouldn't be blowing in the device. I show skips starting at February 12th, 2016, which coincided with her hospital stay, but going all the way to March the 9th, 2020. Which is outside her hospital stay. And obviously, if she went home, she may still have been ill in some capacity. Mr. Martinez, can you comment on the reason we still have a bunch of skips after she left the hospital?
Yes, Judge. One of the most significant aspects of her illness is respiratory. And it's not a matter of her skipping as much as it's a matter of she can't blow with sufficient force to register a result. And if you notice in the MTR, it suggests that she's blowing outside her windows. She does that. We agree to that. But there's times where she'll finally get up enough strength to blow and get a result. but if it's not within her window, it still shows as a violation. So she's still blowing up until this date, Judge. And I think if you look at her history of blowing, she always has, but she's going to have skips because she literally doesn't have enough strength physically to blow hard enough to get it to register. The one violation that was a positive for alcohol was related to some medication she was taking, and she didn't realize there was alcohol in it. And if you notice, in her entire time she's been on probation of almost a year or a little bit more than a year, that's the only indication of alcohol in this entire case. So, Judge, she has not willfully violated the court's order for physical reasons that she can't control. Sometimes she just can't blow within the window, and it continues through this day.
Did she discuss with her probation officer or anyone else, obviously probably with you at some point, the problem she was having blowing in this machine?
Absolutely, Judge. She's kept them apprised of her medical condition or hospitalizations. She's aware of everything that I'm just now telling you.
Ms. Gross, do we have any notes in your file on Ms. Norman that she contacted her probation officer and related the problem she was having blowing into the machine?
I am looking right now, Your Honor. Give me just one moment, please.
I've got it right now. It says, the defendant has suffered from health condition and the defendant reports she had difficulty blowing into the device. She provided medical documentation. And I don't know what date that was, but that was sometime in here. All right.
Right.
So
I do have documentation of medication, and then I also have documentation for admittance and discharge from the hospital. But anything beyond that, I do not have any type of documentation from a doctor or anything like that citing that there are difficulties in breathing or anything like that.
currently, Ms. Norman and Mr. Martinez, do I have your permission to talk to your client about her medical condition?
Absolutely, Judge.
Hey, Ms. Norman, we
Yes,
haven't
Your
had
Honor.
any further violations on you, I think, in a month or more. Are you able to blow into the machine now? Is that not a problem today?
Well, actually, it was a problem this morning. The issue is, Your Honor, that I, unfortunately, undiagnosed until I went to the hospital. One, they found some scarring on my lungs. I had breast cancer back in like 2011 with treatment. And, you know, I don't think it was enough to cause me issue. Of course, I wasn't having to blow into a machine. But when they also were doing the CT or MRI type chest x-ray, they found damage from the quote flu virus that was severe and designated on my discharge papers for the hospital that I had beginnings of what they related as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And further in that discharge document, if you read it, it does say that I have shortness of breath.
It appears that Ms. Norman, in a perfect world, has only, what, 2 or 3 weeks left on her probation? Is that correct, Susan?
Yes, sir. Well,
Yes,
January 11th. So,
And Susan, is there any other issue we have we need to take up at this time other than the one positive for alcohol and the many missed skip tests?
no, that's all that she has left to do is to maintain compliance with Smart Start. Her last Smart Start report, she skipped 19 tests. The one before that, she skipped 8, and the one before that, she skipped 6.
And Ms. Norman, what you're telling us is you're not really skipping these tests.
no,
You're
sir.
trying to blow into them, but the machine's not registering that you blew into it because you can't blow hard enough. Is that correct?
That is correct. It will read blow harder. And sometimes I'll change the angle of the machine to try to get a stronger flow, especially in the mornings. It's mainly in the mornings when I first get up.
Okay.
And so I am trying. And then when I am not working or even within work, because I am a caregiver working 7 hours a day, starting at 7:30 in the morning, I still try to go on and blow into the machine, you know, within an hour or two, or less, just so I can have it on record, because according to Smart Start, they load them that, you know, there's no alcohol. And
Where
at one,
are you working, ma'am?
yes, sir, I am a caregiver. I have 2 patients with Alzheimer's and dementia I take care of.
I've got you. Ms. Rhodes,
Judge,
probation.
Yeah, I'm looking at her last report, and there are several on here where there is no attempt being made to blow as required. There are several that are late, but a lot of them are just flat out skips, and there is no attempt to even blow in the device.
State recommendation?
Well,
It's going to be along with probation, Judge. I think we should continue her on the Smart Start mobile. I mean, I know she's having difficulty and we're not giving our readings, but I don't see any other reason not to, especially if in a perfect world she's completed everything. She's done all of her classes. I was going to suggest if she was on a longer term that we go to Scram. Obviously, that would kind of take care of all these situations, but I don't know if that's exactly right to place her on Scram without any violations. So.
Mr. Martinez and I want her to finish on January the 10th, don't we, Mr. Martinez?
We do,
love
Judge. I would add, Judge, that she surrendered today with an active warrant. So she does want to take care of this case. She's never been arrested on the MTR. She surrendered voluntarily.
Mr. Norman, you're going to give me your word you're not going to drink any alcohol between now and January the 10th,
yes, sir.
2021. I have
Yes,
your
sir.
word.
And I have not had a drop for a year and a half.
And we're going to leave you on the Smart Start mobile portable device. So you need to try to continue blowing into it. You've been very clear with us that you have a problem doing that. Continue
Yes,
to
sir.
try. Ms. Gross is indicating that they can tell if you're trying. Is that correct,
Yes.
Ms. Gross?
Yes. And there's
Yeah,
only been a few times when I haven't, because it's been so congestive. And in fact, I've missed work, but it's typically in the morning. And there was one day, morning and afternoon, I was just gasping for air.
If
My
that-
doctor,
I'm sorry, go
pardon?
ahead. Go ahead,
No.
ma'am.
I was gonna say my doctor, who, I went to see follow-up, and he understood all the implications of the hospitalization. And he does know that I've, from the chemotherapy, et cetera, that I had, that I've had some, scarring or damage to my lungs, which is ordinarily not a problem because I don't exert myself a lot. But with this particular instrument, it's difficult. But
I understand.
on certain days, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Susan, you were going to advise the court of something, and then you got.
Yes. Every time you pick up that device to blow into it, it records your photo. So if you don't pick up and make an attempt, then it's going to be a skip test. And there are several on your last month's report where you didn't even attempt to blow. It's just a total skip. So you need to make sure to pick up and attempt to blow every single time, regardless if you feel like it or not.
Okay, if I'm
Otherwise, you're
capable or
going to be
not.
right back here on another warrant.
No,
I think what Ms. Gross is trying to say, and Mr. Martinez, if you don't mind me trying to explain something to your client, is we understand that you have issues trying to blow into this machine. You've made that very clear. What the court just wants you to do is make the effort. We understand that it may not be possible every time to get a reading, but the court would like you to make an effort so that way we don't see that you're skipping tests. They're just not registering. We have your picture, it's just not registering.
okay, I will certainly make the effort to try every single time period, even though I may not even be able to blow at all. So if I just pick it up and make that attempt.
Make an attempt. Make an attempt. That's what the court is at. And maybe, Judge, if you want to correct me if I'm not right on that.
No, it's all good.
No.
Okay, Ms. Norman, do you have any questions?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
All we want you to do is continue to try to blow on the machine. You've been very clear with us and very truthful about the problems you're having. Ms. Gross has pointed out, as long as you're picking the machine up and trying to blow into it, then we'll have a record you tried, okay?
Great. Thank you.
And
Your
we
Honor.
want you to successfully complete probation, and that's not very long, a couple of weeks from now.
Yes, sir.
So just stay calm, cool, and collected and blow on the machine. I think you're blowing 4 times a day. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. If you have to leave like little alarms on your phone or something, I know you get busy in your caretaking situation.
Yes,
If you actually skip a test, call your probation officer. Susan, is that correct? Is that what y'all want her to do?
Yes.
Okay. If you actually, have an emergency, if you're caring for somebody and you can't blow or something, the next day, this is all probably middle of the night. Next day, call your probation officer, explain what happened in the time frame that it happened in, and
Yes,
we're
sir.
good. Okay.
yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez, do you have anything further to add on what we're trying to do?
There you are.
Anything further, Ms. Norman? Is that going to be okay with you?
No, that is fine, Your Honor. I've had it for a year and a half. I think I can continue to
Okay,
have it as my partner.
Your Honor, please be sure to recall the warrant.
of course. Ms.
Oh,
Norman,
thank
before
you.
I accept your plea of true to condition 16 with a explanation, I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation or to continue on probation with all prior requirements, with the understanding that even though you have this pre-COPD conditions and lung problems and air capacity and whatnot, please try to continue blowing in the machine 4 times a day and at least pick it up and try to blow in it, because we'll have your picture and that proves beyond any doubt that you're trying, okay?
Okay, sir.
Miss any tests, like you're in the middle of an emergency, you can't get to it for whatever reason, call your probation officer the next day and explain to them exactly what happened and what time it happened, okay?
I will. I will, sir.
All right.
And thank you.
Recall all prior warrants and pretrial bond conditions. And what else did I miss, State?
Nothing that I can see, Judge.
All right. Did I miss anything else, Mr. Martinez?
I don't believe so, Judge. I think we're fine.
Good luck, Ms. Norman. Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Oh,
Judge.
Hey,
thank you
forgot
so
to ask
much.
About me, Judge, Ms.
Yeah.
Norman, as soon as you get done here, you need to call Ms. Minez and let her know what happened today, that you were
Yes.
continued and that you will still be blowing in the device 4 times a day until you are off.
Yes, ma'am. I will.
Okay? All
I
right.
will.
You won't have any paperwork or anything like that to sign because there's no changes being made, but make sure
Okay.
Ms. Minez, okay?
Excellent. I will certainly do that immediately.
All right.
She's
Good
been
luck
very
to you. You're
supportive.
free to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ms.
everyone.
Thank you, Judge.
Have a wonderful and safe Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we have Mr. Acevedo with us. I don't see his cute little face anymore. Oh, there he is. He's hiding from me with a mask. Cause number 615260, State of Texas versus Efren Alvarado. This is a motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Alvarado, at this time I'm looking at 2 documents in your file. One titled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Probation Hearing by Video Conference, and the second one entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, both of which purport to have your signatures on them. Are these your signatures on these documents, sir?
Yes,
And Mr. Acevedo, as attorney for Mr. Alvarado, are these your signatures on both of these documents?
yes, Your Honor.
I would point out to Ms. Benavides that my copy of the defendant's consent to a MTR hearing by video conference does not have the defendant's printed name below his signature, and that needs to be filled in before we process this document. We have constant computer glitches, so I apologize to everybody.
We'll fix it, Your Honor. We'll fix it.
Okay, and as previously mentioned, once again, representing the state is Mr. Nicholas Maru, representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who's been previously sworn, and representing the defendant is Mr. Paul Acevedo. This is an uncontested motion to revoke. How does the defendant plead?
True. He pleads true, Your Honor.
And Ms. Gross, what's the status of the defendant's probation plea?
Judge, Mr. Alvarado has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on December the 14th of 2020. He's paid $1,251 and has a balance of $350 and is delinquent $158. He's completed 30 of his 60 hours of community service. He completed the Smart Start mobile device on June the 9th of 2020. He's also completed DWI education, victim impact panel, and the CATSNP programs. He's had 8 negative drug tests, 1 diluted drug test, and 1 positive drug test for marijuana. His officer is asking that we continue him on probation, alternate amend conditions to add a drug offender education program, weekly drug tests, and substantial compliance within 30 days. He has prior arrests for burglary of a habitation and possession of marijuana 0 to 2 ounces.
You gonna stop smoking marijuana, Mr. Alvarado?
Yes, sir.
If I give you your analysis test today, are you gonna be positive for marijuana?
No. No, sir.
Test today. Worst case scenario, he's gonna get a 31-day time period that he can't test positive past that. He started back in September of 2019, so he's on for 18 months. Okay.
Yeah, Judge, I think he's due to expire in February, if I did the math route right.
Incorrect. He expires on March the 15th of 2021.
All right, so
I was
Susan,
off a couple of days.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was off by 2 weeks.
Okay. Ms. Gross, with regard to Mr. Alvarado's probation, if he stops smoking marijuana and hanging out with his buddy and doing colorful things, and finishes paying his monies, that's basically all he has left to do, is it not?
Yes, Your Honor. He has 30 hours to do. His intent was to pay off the probation next month at his next report. And he's done all the classes. He's pretty much has done everything he's supposed to do.
Okay, state recommendation on Mr. Alvarado, please.
Judge, it's going to be along with probation. However, I would just like to admonish that, you know, based off, you got a pretty good lawyer here, because what I wanted to do was revoke, but I'm not going to do that. And I just want to let you know that we're going to continue on this. But Judge, I want to include zero tolerance and substantial compliance.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Alvarado, the court accepts your plea of true to all conditions on the motion to revoke probation with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation or to continue on deferred adjudication probation with all prior requirements and no sanction at this time, although I have the authority to put you in jail for 30 days to get your attention. Will that be necessary, sir?
No, sir.
Good answer, sir. Altering and amending your conditions of probation to include weekly report in UA, DOEP course, substantial compliance, zero tolerance. Get him a UA either today or as soon as possible, and let's get a baseline on what's going on with the marijuana stuff. And I'm not going to hold it against him if he does come up positive, Mr. Acevedo.
Understood.
Hopefully he won't, but if he does, he's going to get 31 days and going to get another one. If he comes up positive after 31 days, all bets are off. We'll be right back here again.
Understood, Your Honor. I feel confident he'll be clean today.
Great. Ms. Gross, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Did you want him to report weekly or just do weekly UAs?
I'm sorry, weekly UAs. Thanks for correcting that. I get it. Pretrial and probation. Yeah, weekly UAs.
Your Honor, he has an active warrant as well.
We're going to recall any bad things I previously did to Mr. Alvarado. Any prior warrants or other bond conditions will be recalled as of today.
Thank you, Judge.
Any questions, Mr. Alvarado?
No, Your Honor.
Your attorney saved you today. That probably not going to happen again.
Thank you, Judge.
They want to keep him around.
As long as I can stay around, Your Honor.
All right. Susan, you need to chat with Mr. Acevedo about getting up with his probation officer or whatever's going on.
Yes, just real quick. Mr. Alvarado, within the next 48 hours, you will be in contact, or your officer will be in contact with you. You are going to have to sign some paperwork. It will be sent to you. You're expected to sign it and send it back electronically. Your failure to do so or to follow up if you don't hear from her is your responsibility, okay? And if you don't, then we're going to be right back here. Okay, but we have court hearings all day today, so she'll probably get the information late today, so she will be in touch with you probably tomorrow. Okay, and she'll let you know when you need to go for that drug test, but you just be ready to go at a moment's notice, okay?
Okay.
All right, any questions, sir?
No.
No questions.
All right, good luck to you guys.
Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas, Paul.
Geller Smith. Next, we've got clause 632, State of Texas versus James Herman. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. Mr. Herman's represented by Mr. Woody Halstead, representing the state. Once again, is Mr. Nick Maru, representing the Bexar County CSCD, is Ms. Susan Gross, who has been previously sworn. At this time, Mr. Herman, I have in front of me two documents that purport to have your signatures on the back. One is titled Defendant's Consent to MTR Hearing by Video Conference, and the second one is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Are these your signatures on each of these documents, sir? Carmen, your microphone is turned off. You're going to have to figure out the little button to push to turn it back on.
Sorry.
Are these your signatures on each document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Halsted, are these your signatures on each of these documents, sir?
They are, Your Honor.
Thank you. My understanding, this is an uncontested motion to revoke probation. On the motion to revoke probation, how does the defendant plead?
Well, it's maybe uncontested, maybe contested. We just received a copy.
Talk about that. What's contested and what's not, I guess.
Well, we just received a copy of the motion today at 2:03 p.m. So I just had the opportunity to look at the allegations against Mr. Herman as we log on to the Zoom hearing. In talking with probation this afternoon, I've learned that at least 2 of the allegations on the motion are not true. In fact, he has completed DWI education and the victim impact panel. What it sounds like is those were not transmitted from the company providing those services to probation until after the motion was filed. So there are definitely some allegations that are not true. I'm not sure about all of them though, because I just got the motion and haven't had a chance to confer with either Mr. Herman or probation.
Well, here's how the law works best I can tell. You've got an option of either having a fully contested motion to revoke probation, at which point, at the very least, the probation department will probably call his original probation officer, who'll be doing the same thing Ms. Gross is doing and just reading off of his file. Or B, you can defer to me to listen to your side of the story on anything that's contested. And obviously, if he's got proof he's done something, he's going to get credit for that. That's not even an issue as far as I'm concerned.
Certainly, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I think we can probably move forward, but if I can maybe go to a breakout room with Mr. Herman and chat with him for just a couple minutes and then come back online, I think that might be the best way to go.
Go ahead and beam Mr. Halsted and Mr. Herman out, please.
Yes, you will be in one, Woody?
All right.
Give them a couple of minutes because Mr. Gaines is going to take a little time.
Mr. Herman, you should be able to see a button that says join, and that will put you in the breakout room with, there we go.
Judge, did you get my email on that?
We're still on YouTube, everyone. Just FYI, we're still on YouTube.
I know, I'm just asking a simple question if you received an email. Did you receive the email I sent you?
Yeah, we'll talk about it after all our hearings are over today. And we're
Okay, I just want to make sure you got it.
You and Dick and I need to chat about that. Yeah. Hi, Alma. Your microphone was turned on.
Hey, Judge, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Have you
Good
still
to
got
see
all
you.
the puppies in your front yard?
Oh, I've
Honor,
been feeding all kinds of critters.
Your Honor, do you want me to get us off YouTube at this point?
I don't think that's going to be necessary.
Okay.
I should say reindeer, not Bambi. What am I saying?
I have a little bit of everything.
I'm waiting for the mountain lions and the tigers and the bears to come by.
I saw an 8-point buck in my front yard a week ago.
Wonderful.
Your Honor, just for information, he also has a active warrant, Mr. Herman. As well as Mr. Gaines.
Susan, I've perfected the art of cooking bacon.
Nice.
So let me tell you what you do. You cook it.
We're on YouTube, remember?
I know, it's all right. The public deserves how to know to make proper bacon too.
Go for it.
You
I
put
want
it,
to hear this. I definitely want to hear this.
so you cook it in the oven, depending on the thickness of your bacon. You do 375 for 20 minutes and you just leave it.
You don't turn it or anything?
Don't turn it, you just leave it. And you just keep checking it till it's the crisp that you want it. And it's perfect. It saves all the mess. There's not the popping everywhere. It's great. It's great.
And you cook it flat or on a rack?
Flat. And then as soon as it's done, I take it out and take it off of the foil so it doesn't just sit in the grease, and then blot it with a
Paper towel?
I mean, look at the rendering on this. It's just,
I know. It's amazing.
I'm going to try it for sure.
you should. I mean, it's great. It works best with Wright's bacon. They sell it at like every HEB.
Wow. Who knew?
I didn't until about 3 months ago when my fiance got fed up with me popping grease on
Susan,
the.
I use a pan with a rack and I put it at 400 for about 50.
400. See, I did that once and then I almost burnt the apartment.
Little known fact that Mr. Maru's undergraduate degree was in home economics, but that's
From Texas State University. So that all makes sense, Judge.
pop in on Woody and tell him Christmas is coming, and I hate to expedite him, but we need to get going.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Alma, just so you know, your mic is still on.
Woody, I apologize for interrupting. Did y'all get done what you needed to do?
Your timing was impeccable, Judge. We did. We were in the process of coming back.
Okay, back on the record. On call 632-602, State of Texas versus James Herman. And defense counsel, Mr. Halstead and Mr. Herman went into a chat room to do some chatting about what's going on with this. And before we get any further into this, let me make sure I understand what we're doing. Anything he's done as far as classes and programs that this MTR alleges he hasn't done, he's going to get credit for. All he has to do is provide this completion certificate or whatever to his probation officer. That's not disputed. Is there anything else you're talking about that's contested on this MTR at this time, Mr. Halstead?
This is going to be a non-contested MTR, Your Honor.
All right, fair enough. And then where you mentioned he finished DWI education and the victim impact panel. Where is he with regard to CATSNP?
My understanding, I think he has completed 4 of 8 classes, I think.
That's all I need.
He's scheduled for his next one tomorrow.
All right, I kind of lost my place. Let me start over. Mr. Herman in cause 632-602 on the motion to revoke probation. How do you plead, sir?
You need to turn your microphone on, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Hello?
now. So the judge just needs you to enter your plea of true.
Court accepts the plea of true with an exclamation.
True.
Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties with the status of Mr. Herman's probation history?
Yes, Your Honor. His reporting has been good. We last saw him on December 17th of 2020. His case is paid in full. We show that he's completed 24 of his 48 hours of community service. He has also completed DWI education and victim impact panel and is currently enrolled in the CATSNP program. He has had 1 diluted drug test, 1 negative drug test, and 1 positive for alcohol via the Smart Start mobile, which was on November 15th of 2020 at 6:45 in the morning, where he tested at 0.041. He is currently testing at 4 times a day, and he does not have any skips. He has 1 prior arrest for speeding of 45 and a 30, and his officer is requesting that we increase his Smart Start mobile device to 6 times a day and that he shows substantial compliance within 30 days.
And Mr. Halstead, I also have received a motion to modify conditions of community supervision to allow Mr. Herman to travel. Would you clarify for us what it is y'all are requesting in that regard?
Yes, sir. Mr. Herman, is part of his job, he does travel outside of Bexar County on a regular basis. So what we have asked for in our motion, let me pull that copy up right here. We are asking that he be allowed to travel to the counties surrounding Bexar County. And I believe we have listed those specifically in the motion, as well as to Harris County and to Nueces County, Corpus Christi, and Travis County, Austin. All those travels in conjunction with his employment are not overnight travel. So we're just asking for day travel to those different locations. He was instructed that for each time he needed to travel, he needed the court's permission. And so we are asking for a ongoing permission of the court to travel to those locations, once again, for non-overnight travel.
That's going to be granted. If at some point he needs overnight travel, he needs to go ahead and just call his probation officer. They have permission to allow him to travel to contiguous counties. If he's going to Harris County or somewhere else, he's going to have to get to me if he wants to spend the night. But as long as none of this travel interferes with his requirements of probation, okay by me.
Very good, Judge. Appreciate it.
Okay. State recommendation?
Along with probation, Judge, bump up to 6 times a day on the Smart Start mobile.
And with the understanding, Mr. House said that I'm going to bump him up to 6 times a day instead of 4 on a Smart Start mobile device. If he shows me 1 clean 30-day period of time with no high bracs for alcohol and no skip tests, and if you bring that to my attention, because otherwise I won't know, I'll crank him back down to 4. Fair enough?
That sounds good, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that okay with you, Mr. Herman?
Yes, sir. Or yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So, Susan, my understanding is, in addition to not drinking any alcohol, Mr. Herman needs to finish his community service or donate $10 an hour to a court charity for whatever many hours he's got left, which looks to be like 44. Does that sound right?
24 hours, Your Honor.
Okay. And finish his catnip program, correct?
That's correct.
Other than that, not rob any banks or get in trouble. Is that true?
Correct. No alcohol consumption and blow into the machine.
Okay. Mr. Herman, the court accepts your plea of true to all conditions on the motion to revoke probation with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation. But you continued on probation with all prior requirements, altering in many conditions and modifying your Smart Start mobile device from 4 blows a day to 6 blows a day within 24 hours. Once again, after what I told your defense counsel, you're going to know this before he does. You're going to have to tell him. But show me a 30-day period of time, which could be 30 days from today, basically, where you're on this 6 blows a day program, and you have not missed any tests, not skipped any blows, and you have no high brax for alcohol. Once that's brought to my attention, and I confirm that through probation, I'll crank you back down to 4 blows a day. Fair enough, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you bring that. Let's sure you let your lawyer know. He'll let me know, and we'll take care of that. Okay.
You got it.
If y'all don't say something, I won't know about it. So that's kind of a big deal. Okay, and you're going to be allowed to travel basically anywhere in Texas as long as it's not overnight. If you need to go somewhere overnight, your probation officers have the authority to let you go to contiguous counties. If it's somewhere not contiguous with Bexar County, you're going to have to come to me and just tell your attorney he'll call me, or he's got my cell phone number, all that stuff, and we'll get that figured out. I don't see that as a major problem. Recall all warrants or bond increases, any other prior bad things I may have done to Mr. Herman on pretrial bond. What did I miss, Woody?
I think you got it all, Judge.
State, what did I miss?
That's it, Judge.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Herman. Thank you, Mr. Halstead. Susan, did you?
Yep. Mr. Herman, Ms. Minez will be in touch with you within the next 24 to 48 hours. You are going to have paperwork that you're going to need to sign in regards to your new conditions of probation. She will be increasing your blows on your Smart Start mobile device. If you do not hear from her within 24 hours, then you need to reach out to her because it's your responsibility to get this paperwork signed, okay?
Hey, do you have her phone number?
I do. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
It is 335-7339.
Miss Inez?
Minez, M-A-I-N-E-Z.
Inez. Oh, my probation officer.
Yes, Miss Minez, the same person that you've been talking to every month.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. Any
I couldn't
questions?
hear you. I thought it was, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you,
You
sir.
too.
May we be excused, Your Honor?
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Bye.
Now we've got cause 621-988, 623-606, and 634-753, State of Texas versus Charles Gaines, as represented by Ms. Alma Benavides. Once again, representing the state, Mr. Nicholas Maru. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who I remind is still under oath. Now, we actually only went forward back on November 20th on 2 out of the 3 of these cases, did we not, Mr. Maru?
Judge, I believe that's correct. I think I TIC'd one.
Does anybody
He's
know?
on probation on all 3.
He's
Okay,
got
never mind.
3 cases, Judge.
Okay, so which case is the one we don't have to worry about today?
He has 3, Your Honor.
I think we're going on all 3, Judge.
Oh, we are going on all 3. Okay. Did we go on all 3 back on November 20th?
I believe we did. Because what they're telling me is that he pled to all 3 cases.
Okay, I got you. All right. And let me make sure I understand. In a previous motion to revoke community supervision hearing on all 3 of these cases, Mr. Gaines entered a plea of true. I believe at that time he was represented by
Andrew Froelich, Judge.
Right, Mr. Froelich. And at that time during that hearing, I believe I advised Mr. Gaines was considering wanting to do a jail term instead of go on probation. And I urged him to go on probation and told him if he changed his mind and he wanted to convert his probation to a jail term, that I would sentence him to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. but they would all run CC for all. Brought to the court's attention that he wanted to do that. Is that correct, Mr. Gaines? You want to go to jail for 90 days instead of do your probation on all these 3 cases?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Benavides, have you had a chance to chat with him about that? You know, I don't want to put anybody in jail that I don't really think deserves to be there, but you know, Mr. Gaines can request what he wants.
Your Honor, I've had,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Mr. Gaines.
Mr. Gaines, go ahead and talk if you'd like to, sir.
I mean, Your Honor, I never, all the time that we talked about with my previous lawyer was never this type of time. It was 60 days. That's what he told me the state was offering. That's what was the problem the last time when I kept going, and you know, I had to talk to my lawyer, but he never said nothing about nothing. I mean, it was 60 days, and I was gonna do it. I was gonna take it.
Well, Mr. Gaines, all I can tell you is what I recall from the hearing. Obviously, none of us are privileged to be involved in any conversation you had with your previous attorney, and that would be a privileged attorney-client relationship. So none of us would ever know unless y'all wanted us to know what y'all were talking about. My recollection of the hearing is that the figure in my mind was 90 days, because 2 of these charges at least were handguns. Is that not true?
Yes, Judge, and actually,
But
Judge,
they were both was circumstantial.
I understand, sir. Hang on just a second. Okay, let the district.
Every time I went to jail from right here at my house.
All right, Mr. Gaines.
I wasn't out here carrying handguns. I wasn't out here in the streets running with handguns.
1 second, Mr. Gaines, just 1 second. All right. Judge.
Go ahead, Mr. Brew.
The last time we were in a hearing, you're being generous now by saying 90, so you should be grateful, Mr. Gaines, because I have in my notes that it was 120. Now, I was going to recommend 90 anyways. That was going to be my recommendation, Judge. So I'm on board with the 90 days.
Okay. So, Mr. Gaines and Ms. Benavides, we're back to you guys. Mr. Gaines, I'm going to allow you to convert your probation. You haven't done anything wrong on probation I'm aware of. No one's filed a motion to revoke your probation. You have full ability to stay on probation with all the previous requirements. And I'm the first one to agree with you. Probation's not easy. You know, you can't drink alcohol. You can't hang out with your buddies and do colorful things. It's not easy.
I just can't afford it, Your Honor.
I understand, but
I can't afford it.
Go back and look at my notes.
What they were telling me is it's gonna be like $300 a month. I can't afford that.
Yeah, I look back on my notes and Mr. Maru is correct. It was 120 days, but I'm going to go with 90. So,
Your Honor, if I could interject just for a second. In my previous conversations with Mr. Gaines, it was my understanding that he wanted me to ask the court to consider full GPS house arrest. But what I'm hearing from him now is that he's got some, it would be unduly burdensome on him to have to pay for the GPS every month. It's going to be somewhere between $300 to $350. And so I just want to be clear that he understands that those are the fees that would be involved if we were to ask the court to consider GPS. If he is in agreement that he would prefer to do his jail time, then that's what I would be asking the court for. And he, I've explained to him that GPS is day for day. And if he goes to the, Bexar County Jail, it's going to be somewhere between 2 for 1 or 3 for 1, depending on whether he applies for trustee status. And I would also advise the court, I just want to remind the court, Mr. Gaines is 100% disabled. And he did serve in the Army from 1989 until 1992. He has PTSD, degenerative disc disease. He is bipolar and he also has COPD. So you're,
Let me tell everybody, let me make sure I'm clear because we have 3 cases. State, is it your understanding that cause 634753 was TIC'd on one of these other cases?
Judge, I thought it was, but looking back, it looks like he is on probation for all 3 cases.
That's correct.
See,
That's
but
correct,
he
Your
is,
Honor.
I think he did plead to all 3 cases and he was placed on probation for all 3 cases.
that's my understanding, Your Honor. He pled on all 3 cases on November 20th and was granted probation all together, all at the same time. And it was 1 year regular probation.
Okay, Mr. Gaines, here's what's going on. These are your options and these are your only options. You can remain on probation and just comply with the rules of probation, which apparently you've done so far. I haven't heard any bad things said about you or that you weren't doing what you're supposed to do. Or you can convert it to a jail sentence. You're still going to have convictions for all 3 of these crimes. And I'm going to assign 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. Credit for time served anytime you already spent in jail on any of these 3 cases is going to count. And you're going to
How
have
many?
go ahead, sir. You have a question?
I said, how many?
90 in 90.
And how many days credit?
I don't know how many days credit you have. Pat, do we have any idea on that?
Judge, I believe he has 6 on 1 case. And he has 6 on 2 cases. Cause number 621988, he has 6 cases. Cause number 623606, he has 6 days. And then cause number 634753, he has 1 day.
So are each of these at different times, or was he in jail for the 6 days at the same time on both cases?
Different times, Your Honor.
Different times, Judge.
Credit for 13 days. Would that be true?
Can you stack them like that, Judge? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, you can.
I think if you run them concurrent, it would be,
If they're separate times, that's 26, 20.
All right, Mr. Gaines, you'd be getting a sentence on each of these cases of 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. Did I assign a fine the last time on this?
Yes, Your Honor. He has $500 fine on each case.
All right, we'll just keep that up. $100, 90 days in Bexar County Jail and $100 fine in each case, running concurrent. You're going to get credit for time served of 13 days on each of these cases.
Judge, did you say $100 fine or 500? 500 was the original fine.
All right, well, that's what it would be. Anyway, you would be reporting to the Bexar County Jail on Monday. So you get to have Christmas off. Now, is that what you want to do, Mr. Gaines? You want to stay on probation? You got to tell us what you want to do. You're not going to be able to stay at home on GPS. That's not an option. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, yes, sir. I want to, yes, Your Honor, I want to do the 90 days.
All right. Ms. Benavides, do you need to go in the chat room and chat with him again and make sure that's what we're doing, or have you already had previous conversations and that's what he wants to do?
I think we're clear, Judge. We've had several conversations, and I was going to ask the court to allow him to turn himself in a week, but you've already given us that option.
Yeah, he's going to get through Christmas. He's not going to get through New Year's.
All right, so that'll be the 28th.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Honor. That was, that's very generous of you. Mr. Gaines, you understand what we're doing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
We'll go through this on each case. In clause 621988, the court accepts Mr. Gaines' plea of no contest rendered on November 20th, 2020. Pursuant to his request at this time, I'm going to change the sentence from probation to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail, a $500 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 623606 and 634753. Mr. Gaines is to report to the Bexar County Jail at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, the 28th of December. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Gaines in 621-988?
Judge, there's some active warrants that we need to address.
Why is there an active warrant?
Because he has an MTR filed,
He
Judge.
has 3 MTRs, Your Honor.
Oh, see, I didn't know that he had the MTRs from. All right, we're going to recall any prior warrants or what were the MTRs based on? I haven't seen them. I don't know anything about them.
I think it's
No.
just I just don't think he ever showed up, Judge, or did anything.
No, wait. I reported every week. I reported to Miss I'm supposed to report to today, but I reported every week. And the only thing I told everybody when I went to orientation for probation, I told them that I wanted to do the time. I told my lawyer that I wanted to do the time, and he texted me back, okay. I mean, I did everything that I could do. I mean, I don't know what else I could have done different.
Judge, if I may.
Sure.
The MTRs that were sent to you last Friday, they are alleging the fact that he failed to obtain his Smart Start device within the time frame set by the court, and also that he has failed to complete or enroll in any of his programs. And then also, can you clarify for me, are these MTR hearings, or are you going to withdraw the MTR and just modify the sentence, reform the judgment?
I think the most simple way to do it, subject to whatever Mr. Maru, how he wants to handle it, would be for the state to move to withdraw the MTRs based on his request to be resentenced for a jail sentence. Mr. Maru, is that how you want to handle it, or we can do it any way you want?
We can do it anyway, Judge. It's nothing else. Yeah, Judge State moves to withdraw the 3 MTRs on Mr. Gaines.
All right, state's motion to withdraw the 3 pending motions to revoke probation in clause 621-988, 623-606, and 624-753, based on Mr. Gaines' representation at this time that he wants to go back and be resentenced on all these 3 cases for a jail term, and not probation is granted. And recalling all warrants, bond increases, any other requirements of the pretrial bond on each and every MTR previously filed. So that being said, I'm gonna go back over these one more time. In clause 621-988, the court accepts your plea of no contest rendered on November 20th, 2020. I grant this, or I find you guilty. I says 90 days in the Bexar County Jail, a $500 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 623-606 and 634-753. You report to the Bexar County Jail to start serving your sentence on Monday, December 28th at 9:00 a.m. Anything further from the state or the defense on 621-988?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gaines, yes, go ahead. Who's talking?
How?
Mr. Gaines, go ahead.
How does the court costs and all them fines? Yes, how do the court costs and the fines work? Do I got to pay that before I get out of jail?
Not at all. You don't have to pay a dime. It all is included in the time frame. In the time frame you spend incarcerated, all the monies we're talking about, they have a daily amount that they figure it out. Anyways, it turns out you're not going to have to pay any money. You're just going to have to serve the jail time we're talking about.
Okay. Okay. Right. I was just trying to ask.
I understand.
I don't have teeth, so I might slur a little bit.
All right.
I pulled all my teeth out a year ago.
Okay. Clause 623-606, the court accepts Mr. Gaines' original plea rendered on November 20th, 2020 of no contest. I find him guilty. I sentence him to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail. I set the $500 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 621-988 and 634-753. Mr. Gaines is to report to the Bexar County Jail to turn himself in on Monday, December 28th at 9:00 a.m. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Gaines and 623-606?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
Mr. Gaines, clause 634-753. The court accepts your plea of no contest rendered on November 20th, 2020, pursuant to your request. I accept your plea of no contest. I find you guilty. I assess 90 days in the Bexar County Jail, $500 fine plus court cost credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 621-988 and 623-606. You to report to the Bexar County Jail at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, December 28th, to start serving your jail sentence. All these cases run concurrent, and all Mr. Gaines has to do is show up on Monday at 9:00, and the rest will take place. Anything further from the state or the defense on any of these cases?
No, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
Got any more questions, Mr. Gaines? This is your big chance, last chance.
No, sir, Your Honor. I mean, if I get last time, I wasn't doing nothing wrong, man. All my cases, I got arrested at my house.
Mr. Gaines, you're gonna have to
Right
discuss
here.
any facts of the case with your attorney. It's not gonna do any good to discuss them with us. All that is past history. And I don't know what your conversations with your previous attorney are or your current attorney, but you're welcome to chat with them about all that.
Okay, well, I guess there's nothing else that I could say. I wasn't out here doing nothing wrong, man.
Well,
Your Honor.
I wish you well.